to launch $2 million capital campaign. That's the reason that we're gathered here this morning. Members, representatives of the Florida Horse Park, and community leaders are here to address this very response to Ocala, Florida, the United States, and actually the world. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Lonnie Powell. Lonnie is a board member of the Florida Horse Park here in Ocala.
Thank you, Karen. Good morning, everyone. I am here as a board member and an executive officer of the Horse Park, representing my fellow board members and officers of the Horse Park. Certainly, I would like to, first and foremost, extend a special thank you on behalf of the park to our governor for having made this funding available. This funding will be absolutely critical to the future progress of the Horse Park, and we're very excited, honored to receive it. We also look very much forward to working with the Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services and Commissioner Putnam's office and staff in moving this project forward and taking the Horse Park on to the next level. I have to preface my remarks by saying I can't get involved in a lot of the details because, first of all, the details have not all been defined from the park's end about how we will specifically be using this funding, though we have some very good ideas, and that awaits a meeting of the board of directors in the near future. Also, we still have an agreement to finalize with the Department of Agriculture. Both of these are critical steps. They're necessary steps. We anticipate no issues with either one, but nonetheless, they are procedures we still need to go through. When it comes to the immediate plans for the park, it's safe to say that one thing we covet very much, whether we get it done now or at the next stage, but I think there will be an emphasis to try to achieve it sooner versus later, is that of a covered arena, which ranks very high on our list. In the minds of many of us, a covered arena is a game changer for the park. It brings a facility that provides for maximum comfort, enjoyment, and competition for the participants, for the horses, and for the fans. A covered arena would provide an attractive alternative, and the park itself provide an attractive alternative for all horse breeds and disciplines. Now, we have other things that we need to do as well. We certainly have infrastructure improvements to make. We want to build permanent barns. We even like the idea of an RV park. All of those fit into the immediate future of the park somehow, some way, based on funding and based on decisions to be made by the board of directors. But again, I will say that sooner versus later, we want to pursue a covered arena. The Horse Park is all about jobs. It's all about economic impact. It's all about tourism. It's also about bringing another entertainment aspect to our menu in Marion County for the families, citizens, and people who visit here. It's a matter of improving, therefore, the quality of life in our county, in our city, in our state. When it comes to our specific community, we refer to ourselves as the horse capital of the world. We take that very seriously. In my business, I am the Chief Executive Officer of the Florida Thoroughbred Breeders and Owners Association. We take a lot of pride in headquartering in the horse capital of the world. I've had a chance to visit a lot of horse areas in my life. I've been blessed by having a chance to work in a lot of those areas. And the only places I can compare to Marion County and Ocala in terms of the affinity and love and identification for the horse are places like Saratoga Springs and Lexington, Kentucky. I tell you, that's great company to run with, and I'd put us at the very top when it comes to the love for the horse. There's some people that really worked hard to get us to this point where we are today, to have this funding in order to move forward and do big things at the park. And certainly at the top of that list is the foundation, who are out there tirelessly raising awareness and money for the park. Without their efforts, we could not build out the park and serve the community the way I just discussed with you. We enthusiastically, obviously, endorse their efforts to raise funds and awareness for the park, and we ask that our citizens, our community, and horse enthusiasts from all over, within the community, within the state, and all over, support these efforts. Other people that need to be thanked include Senator Hayes, Representative Baxley, certainly the Ocala CEP, and you're going to hear from Kevin shortly, our local county commissioners, again, the foundation, and not only the foundation board, the foundation employees, the Horse Park employees, the event organizers, the multitude of donors and sponsors who have stepped up to help the park along the way and who plan to step up and help us even more in the future. And three particular people that I will specify in particular, Whit Palmer, Carol Day, and Connie Weiss, whose tireless efforts have really helped get us to where we are today. Again, we're excited about what this funding means. We're excited about the possibilities. We have a lot of work to do. We are far from done. We need a lot of help. We need a lot of continued support. We need a lot of continued energy and karma, but we have the foundation now to build upon. Today is a very good day for the Horse Park, and I think at some point in time we will look back and say, this is where the corner was turned, and this is where we went on to the next level. We're very excited, and again, I thank everybody for their help and assistance in getting us to where we are today, and even more so, helping take us to where we need to be in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lonnie Powell. You know, Lonnie said, I'll have 3 points and I might have a few more. So you've got your nickel's worth here, a dime maybe. Thank you, Lonnie. Second on our presentation this morning is Loretta Schaefer. She's the Executive Director of the Ocala Marion Visitors and Convention Bureau. Loretta.
Thank you, Karen, Eileen, and thank you everyone for being here. This is very, very exciting news. It certainly is a horsepower of a different kind as we all work to team together to generate this great success. And on behalf of the Marion County Convention and Visitors Bureau, the Board of County Commissioners, we just so generously and gratefully thank Governor Rick Scott for this funding. It is absolutely amazing what it is going to do for our community, for our county, as we catapult and move forward. What we do know about the equine industry is that it generates over $5 billion in economic impact nationally. And how can we continue down this path of generating even greater economic impact directly into Marion County? So with this initiative and with this funding, we are so excited about what it will bring to the area. We currently bring in over 1.3 million visitors to the area, achieving over $300 million in economic impact. And that means jobs, as we heard from Lonnie. That means a greater opportunity for all of us to achieve success. So on behalf of Marion County and the Convention and Visitors Bureau, we look forward to working together with not only this great group of people before you, but with the community to truly help take Marion County to the next level. And thank you again to Senator Hayes, Representative Baxley, the commissioners, and all of you for making this happen. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Loretta. You know, there's something to be said about harnessing the power of teaming, and to see that happening in the horse capital of the world, I think is just, to me, it's very inspiring. Our next presenter this morning will be Kevin Sheely. And Kevin has been on standby. Anytime we call, we need help with this, Kevin is there. He has been a tremendous support. And let me tell you that he is coming in as the CEO of the Chamber Economic Partnership for Ocala. He had one committee to choose that he could be on. Guess what he chose? Equine. Kevin Sheely.
Thank you, Karen, and I want to thank the Horse Park and the Foundation for allowing the CEP to be part of this. I can't think of a better job in all the world, sorry, Lonnie, than to be the CEO of the Chamber and Economic Partnership in the horse capital of the world. And that is a great privilege and honor, and we understand and value equine. Lonnie's absolutely correct. This project is about jobs, and at the CEP, we're about jobs. This investment that the governor has signed off on, that the legislature passed, is about creating jobs and opportunity in our community. And so we're excited to be a part of that and to be able to support what the Horse Park and the Foundation are doing, to encourage $2 million plus investment, because we know this is going to lead to additional investments in our community. That's what we want to see happen at the CEP, is to see us invest in the future, to be able to create new jobs and new opportunities and to grow existing businesses. Equine is unique here. Lonnie made a great reference to some of our other cities that are equine leaders. but we're the horse capital of the world. Now, few places anywhere have the diversity of breeds, and what a great place to be able to showcase that at the Florida Horse Park. So we're excited to be a part of that. We congratulate the Horse Park and the Foundation for this step today. We look forward to seeing how this moves forward and being a partner with the Horse Park, the Foundation, the Tourism Commission, the county and the city, and everyone who's involved to make these things happen. So again, we congratulate you and we look forward to working together.
Thank you very much, Kevin. When I moved to Ocala and getting to know, and by the way, there are some of us who moved to Ocala because it is the horse capital. I knew no one coming here, and that's true of other people as well. Some are in the industry. We have former Olympians here. We have Olympians who are still, Karen O'Connor she took 9th in the Olympics in London. Karen went through the Florida Horse Park to achieve that. Another eventer that has Downtown Harrison. Downtown Harrison was bred, born, trained, and went through the Florida Horse Park to go on to higher levels. In fact, taking #1 CCI 3 award in Bromont last year, and the best rider horse combination, is John Holling, and my pleasure to introduce him.
That's a pretty good introduction. Obviously, I want to thank the foundation and the Horse Park for letting me come and speak to you guys. Everybody else up here is going to talk to you a lot about numbers and what the economic impact of this funding is. And obviously, a big thank you to Governor Scott for coming through with that. That's huge. And I think the support of the local community behind that will make it even bigger. But I'm going to speak about what it means to me. I'm a kid from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, who got a job working for an Olympian when I was 19 years old. He came to Ocala, Florida, and that's where my job brought me. About 4 years later, I decided that I wanted to live somewhere where I could achieve all of my dreams and goals. And at that point, I had been to Lexington, Kentucky. I'd been all over the United States and North America into Canada, and I chose Ocala because this is the horse capital of the world to me. Since then, I've been really lucky. I've been able to travel all over the world. As Karen said, I have a horse named Downtown Harrison that went to Bromont last year, about a year ago next week, actually. I'll be going back next week to try to defend my title on another horse. And he was born and bred and raised here. I competed him at this Florida Horse Park. It's a huge part of why he's been so successful. And the other really cool part is that horse then was able to go and represent Ocala and the United States at a Nations Cup competition in Holland last autumn, where he was pretty good. So the park's been a huge part of that. I also decided to raise my family here. I have a son, and so the park being successful is hugely important to me because I want a place that I can not only run my business, but a place that I can take my family to and be able to enjoy being outside and enjoy horses, the passion of my life, really. So it's very exciting for us. And then finally, I think I'm here partially because I help organize some of the events at the horse park. And so I try to do my job with my business partner, Peter Gray, and having not just the money behind it to make sure that the infrastructure can become better at the Florida Horse Park, but knowing that the state and the community is behind that horse park to make it bigger and better, and hearing some of the exciting things like a covered arena that might be happening in the future or permanent stabling. As someone who does business with the park, that's huge. And it's so important to know that we've got the support of the entire state. This horse park has the potential, in my opinion, to be the best horse park in the world. All it needs is a little bit of help and support from the community. So with that, thank you very much.
Thank you, John Holling. And when you said community, you meant the world community, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. And coming in on the home stretch is Ann Favre. Ann is the executive director of the foundation. And she was the woman that called me and said, do you want to lend us a hand here? I think we've got some big stuff going on. And it is. Ann Favre.
Thank you, Karen.
My husband and I moved here about a year ago, and we came here because of the equestrian community. We both are avid equestrians, and so a lot of what was said earlier really has resonated for me. I think in particular Lonnie's comment about we'll look back on this day and we will recognize that this is when the horse park turned an important corner and really set us on the stage to succeed and realize our vision of becoming a major force in the equestrian world. I have to stop and pause and thank so many donors and so many sponsors. I added up the amount of money that private funding had brought in, and it's in the millions over the last 5 years. This community has had the tenacity and the stick to it to realize this $2 million funding from the governor. We could not have survived this long without that level of support. I feel it here in our community leaders. We are very blessed with this level of support. It is like none other that I've experienced in a community in my tenure. And so it was with great respect that I launch another campaign for funding. I know 2 million sounds like a lot, and it is, but it's not enough to carry us to the vision. I'm asking each citizen, each business to contribute to the park as part of a capital campaign. We are not required by the government to match this fund, these 2 million in funds, but I'd like to see us try. I think that's a very clear way of saying, we thank you, Governor Scott. We thank everyone who had the determination and the confidence in the park and the foundation and what we're doing here. So I put that as a challenge. If you are interested in contributing to the foundation or the park, you can do so by contacting the park directly via their web page at www.flhorsepark.com. If you want more information about how to give, feel free to call me personally. I'm at 903-203-5680. That number is also on the sheet that is being handed out at this press conference. I'll give you that number again. It's 903-203-5680. We look forward to your continued support. We look forward to sharing the success. I also want to thank Karen for her diligence in pulling this together. It was no small feat. And thank each of you for your contributions today.
Thank you, Ann. You know, I'm from a very large family, and anytime something big was coming up, Dad would say, all hands on deck. And that's what this sounds like, all hands on deck. And if everybody pitches in a little bit, big ways, little ways, come out to the horse park to volunteer, there's wonderful opportunities to be right next to the horses as, you know, the Olympians are going by. And we've all talked a lot about horses, and it is the Florida Horse Park. Sean Doherty is on assignment this morning. This money needs to be allocated, and there's a timeline on this. That's what I'll say. There's a timeline on this. And Sean, as the director of the operations portion of the Florida Park, is on assignment this morning. He said to say good morning, and he needs to stay on assignment in order to meet that timeline. So he just asked me if I would bring to the attention the Florida Horse Park, but there's more things than horses, more events going on than horses. And I see Sky nodding her head, and she's going to be the one telling everybody about this through the Visitors and Convention Bureau on the team there. What I see this morning is a tremendous, tremendous team effort in the response to what Governor Scott has allocated. And I've been out at the Florida Horse Park on a given day. And John Holling, I know any of you, when you take a look around during some of the well-attended events, you see a panoramic view of license plates from all across the United States and Canada. So this isn't just for Ocala. It isn't just for Marion County. Yes, the impact is here, and yes, the responsibility goes with that. But people are visiting. And I'd like to take a couple of seconds to thank people thank the media for being here, number one, because teaming with you as well to have the accurate messages out, that's what we would like to have happen. But we have, and the magazines, I'll leave the magazines on the table, we have features for the Florida Horse Park in What's Up Ocala, a local magazine, a regional magazine, Florida Sport Horse with Christy Gold. And Equine Journal has been a tremendous support for us. There are articles and ads nationally I walked through one of the events at the Florida Horse Park recently, and out of 5 couples, I asked, how did you hear about us? How did you hear about the Florida Horse Park? 4 out of 5 said Equine Journal. They're a keeper. And then Equinus called, and in screening for media to have press passes, I said, what was the last big show that you attended? And he said, London. I thought, So yes, they did come to the Florida Horse Park all day for 3 days, all day for 4 days in April, and they had posting for the Florida Horse Park on their website by 5 o'clock every day. So people around the world. Here's the first magazine. It features their coverage of the Olympics, and guess what? Second magazine is featuring the Florida Horse Park. This magazine is $8. It's an international magazine, 2.5 pounds. Come take a look. So, without further ado, I know we have media here. Do we have questions for any members of the presenters, please? Did we answer? Yes.
Hi, I represent Stride, which is a local dressage group.
Yes?
Our newsletter, which is why I'm here as media. And we have 5 schooling shows there. I think we're a little concerned that whatever the transition is, that we will be able to continue to do what we've been doing so far.
Lonnie, I'm going to hand that one off to you.
I can take my best shot at that. I mean, I do not, I'm not in charge of day-to-day operations at the horse park, obviously, but I'm a part of the board that oversees the operators. I think it's very safe to say that we will make every effort to not disrupt the continued relationships and business flow at the horse park as we try to embark upon this new project. I mean, there are probably going to be some inconveniences for us all, but there are probably also going to be some things, I know there are going to be some things to get really excited about. But as a board member and as an officer, all I can tell you is we will work very hard not to disrupt our existing customer base and your activities. And I think and I hope that you share with us the excitement about what it means for your groups and the other groups to improve this park in a big way. But we will try not to inconvenience you too much, and I think we're working on enhancing your experience at the park.
You know, I'm a former reporter, so if you don't ask questions, I'm going to. Yes.
One of the requirements for $2 million is a demonstration of producing $5 million in tax revenue by 2018. Do you feel confident that you can demonstrate that?
I think Lonnie once again, and then maybe Kevin, please.
It's not an easy task. We believe it is definitely doable. It also illustrates the importance that not to just invest in infrastructure that lies under the ground to help us build out the master plan, because there are many components of the park, but to immediately begin producing increased revenues and visibility and attendance at the park. Therefore, that's why something like the covered arena is probably the logical. And again, I don't want you to leave here thinking that is the absolute decision. We have not had our board meeting yet. I'm just an officer and an executive committee member. But something like the covered arena would immediately generate revenues and would immediately bring more business to the park, and that would help us achieve that goal in a much more streamlined fashion. So we understand the challenges ahead, and we're willing to take those on. Otherwise, we wouldn't be grabbing a hold of it. Yes, sir.
Some years ago, the horse park started a campaign to build barns and stalls, and sold from donations, promised plaques on the stalls. Is there going to be any movement to fulfill that promise to those donors as far as getting those barns and stalls built?
I think I would have to yield to somebody on the foundation to discuss this.
Fred from the Ocala Star-Banner. I'm Connie Wise. I'm the chairman of the foundation of the Florida Horse Park. I can tell you that I'm really glad you asked that question. I believe that all of the folks that had given so generously in the past had been contacted several times over the last number of years, and it's been our dream as a foundation to be able to raise funding for not only the covered arena, but of course additional facilities, secondly of which would be the barns. And I would only imagine that it would be very, very important for all of us to help those folks achieve the confidence and the goodwill that we would put their names on the stalls or a placard, because they so generously, like a lot of other people, helped us get to where we are today so that we can have this confidence going forward. So there's been much discussion, and they've been top of mind for many years. So by all means, for them and the long list of donors that have kept this dream alive for the past 6 years that I've been involved in the project, we want to recognize them for where they put us today. Because without them, we would have never had this opportunity.
Has there been any progress toward that?
Yes. Thank you.
If I might add one comment from the operational side, more permanent stalls, the build out of more permanent stalls is an absolute priority for us. It would fall only second to the covered arena. Ideally, it would happen in conjunction with. A lot of it's going to depend on where we go with our funding campaign that the foundation just announced to you today. But next to the covered arena stalls would be the absolute top priority, plus the infrastructure that's needed to support those type of facilities.
Is there any kind of estimate on the price of a covered arena? How much of the $2 million would that take?
It certainly would take a majority, if not all. But we are in the process. That's one of the reasons why the executive director is not here today. As soon as we got this great news, he's on the road looking at covered arenas and talking to people. We have some basic information that's been gathered by the park recently and over the past, so we know that it's definitely within the realm of possibility. But again, the specifics are still being investigated. That's one of the reasons why Sean, our executive director, is out of town right now, because he's in the covered arena markets right now.
Kathy Bryant just walked in the room. We'll get back to you in just a few moments. Kathy Bryant is the chair of the County Commission of Marion County. Kathy, I know you're going 19 directions at one time this morning under heavy schedule. You know what this is about, and a comment, please.
Good morning. Well, this is just another one of many great days ahead for Marion County. Having the governor sign to support the $2 million for our Florida Horse Park, it's very important for our Florida Horse Park. As we all know, the Florida Horse Park is going to be very important in the economic vitality of Marion County for many years to come. We've got a lot of great events that we have hosted out there, and we are looking forward to watching it grow and prosper, and to actually being a supporter of it from the county side. We've asked for this for many, many years, and actually, I think our ask last year was just $1 million. So to come through and receive the $2 million, it's a great day for Marion County and for the Florida Horse Park, and we're just very, very excited to be a part of it. So thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for coming by on a notice. It was short notice for everyone, and actually to stay with our timeline, I know we're winding in on the home stretch, and I wanted to say thank you to everyone who pitched in to have this happen. Kathy Bryant, of course, Lonnie Powell, Ann Favre, thank you for the vote of confidence and saying, come on over and help us. Loretta Schaefer and John Holling, thank you all very much. Wonderful job. Thank you to Jeff and his crew at the Hilton. Thank you to Colleen and the crew at Horse Channel. And we hope that this will be the first of many contacts and beams of information out to the world from the Florida Horse Park. Have a great day. Thank you.